Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Albert, and welcome to the Road to Revenge, the rematches. Throughout the course of boxing history, rematches have often proved to be more intriguing, more dramatic than the original bout, for they bring the qualities of revenge and redemption into the ring. On May 7th, here at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, there will be 4 world-class bouts, all of them rematches, all of them world title fights. Hard-hitting Julian Jackson will attempt to avenge his disappointing 5th-round loss to Gerald McClellan and regain the WBC middleweight title. After his loss to Simon Brown, Terry Norris is hoping to even the score and win back his WBC Super Welterweight Championship. And the amazing Azuma Nelson would love to avenge his controversial draw with #1 challenger Jesse James Leija and prove he is the undisputed WBC Super Featherweight Champion. And headlining this intriguing night of fighting is the rematch to one of the most surprising, most shocking upsets in years. For just months ago, a virtually unknown challenger defied the odds and confounded the experts by beating the most dominant champion in the sport today. The date was January 29th. The champion, the undefeated Julio Cesar Chavez. Although a recent tie against Pernell Whitaker had taken away a little of his luster, Chavez's 5 world titles and 89 victories had for years earned him the accolade of the world's greatest fighter, pound for pound. The challenger, the often overlooked and always underrated Frankie Randall. Winner of close to 50 fights, Randall had earned the nickname the Surgeon for his ability to dissect his opponents. But throughout his 11-year career, this 15-to-1 long shot had never been granted a title fight until now.
I hadn't had a chance to fight for a title fight, and I wanted to come out and perform my best. If I would have performed my best and lost, I still would have been satisfied with myself.
Randall did come out performing his best. Using his speed and effective jab and accurate combinations, he piled up points during the first 3 rounds.
I really thought Randall would get tired. The way I was fighting those first 3 rounds, I figured he'd run out of gas. I really thought that if I kept up the pressure, I'd be able to knock him out in the later rounds. And the outcome of the fight would have been different.
Starting in the 4th round, Chavez began to pick up the pace, forcing the action with right-hand leads to the head, trademark left hooks to the body, and relentless pressure.
He tries to do that in every round. He tries to go farther and harder and stronger. And I had to bring myself up to be where he was in order to make the fight a better fight for each other.
Entering the 7th round, Chavez was narrowly ahead when referee Richard Steele made the first of 2 controversial decisions.
Look at that punching machine.
Low blow by Chavez, and that time it really got to Randall.
I certainly don't feel like I threw any low blows. They were all to the midsection of the body.
I got pictures and proofs to see that you can see that he hit me low.
The momentum of the fight continued to shift, round to round, minute to minute, as each man gave as good as he got. Entering the 11th, Chavez was slightly ahead on 2 of the 3 scorecards. But the next 3 minutes would prove to be the most disastrous in his long and illustrious career.
He hit him low, but I'll tell you what, there's a world championship being taken away.
Julio Cesar Chavez very, very upset at Richard Steele.
That one right there, it hurt. So I pulled it off and I tried to get my wind back and get everything going back again and come back in. Then he took a point away. That's his job.
And just a minute later, Randall, with the simplest of combinations, a 1-2 punch, made boxing history.
And I pulled off the ropes, coming around, and he was at distance. And I just threw a jab and come right back with the right hand because he was like squared off. And he was right there.
Oh, there goes Chavez for the first time in his career!
Unbelievable!
Randall threw a lot of other punches that were much harder, but they didn't knock me down. I'm just disgusted with myself.
Chavez, desperate to even the score, was unable to catch the elusive Randall in the final round. But even with the deductions for the low blows and knockdown, the fight was too close to call.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner and new champion, Frankie, the Surgeon Randall.
did cry, yeah. I cried, and I shed some tears because it was a moment, you know, and it brings a little tear to the eye now. So, you know, it's very emotional. It was something that, wow, you know, it's a relief of stress and everything off of you. So why not let a little tear out?
Now, months later, as he prepares to defend his title, Randall has come to realize that beating Chavez once is not enough. For in order to earn the respect and recognition he believes he deserves, he must win the rematch convincingly.
I'm going to be determined to go out and win the fight and win it convincingly so I can still get my credibility as a fighter and a world-class fighter.
And while Chavez has reconciled himself to the first and only loss in his remarkable 13-year career, he is eager for the rematch and impatient for his revenge.
I feel it's something I've been able to deal with. I'm fine. Actually, the loss has been a blessing. I've learned a lot from it.
And in the minds of both men, the controversy over the low blows, the knockdown, and the closeness of the decision lingers on.
When we fight again the next time, hopefully I can change a lot of things, and maybe hopefully I can knock him out. Where I don't have to be in this position to say, oh, I fought a great fighter and this shouldn't have been taken away because of a knockdown. Hopefully I can change all those things.
I'm not making any excuses. I know why I lost. I'm not taking anything away from Frankie Randall. One thing's for sure, things will be different May 7th.
Last year, in a long-awaited and eagerly anticipated WBC middleweight championship bout, two evenly matched sluggers punched it out in a fight that had just about everything. Ferocious knockdowns, constantly changing strategies, and a final round that KO magazine called the best of 1993. The date was May 8th, 1993. The champion, Julian Jackson. Nicknamed the Hawk for his ability to swoop down and destroy his opponent, he ruled the WBA junior middleweight and WBC middleweight divisions for the last 6 years. And with 43 KOs in 47 fights, the 32-year-old Jackson had earned a reputation as one of boxing's most powerful punchers in the sport today. The challenger, one of boxing's best-kept secrets, Gerald McClellan. Although he ended 25 of his 27 fights early, 17 in the first round, national fame continued to elude this 25-year-old prodigy from Detroit's fabled Kronk Gym. And while boxing insiders were unsure of who would win this fight, they all knew it would be a war. And they were right.
Joe just came on the scene, and he was like unknown to us. But I knew that, from what I heard, that he was a very tough fighter. And I saw him live in Mexico, and he fought, and he was straight up. And I said, man, I'm going to take this guy, you know.
But just minutes into their fight, Jackson discovered a problem with his prediction.
There it is, a big right hand.
And Jackson is rocked in the opening minute.
To my surprise, he didn't stand straight up, but he moved back, you know, and my punches was just a little short, and he was just stepping back, you know, and that's something that threw me off.
In the second round, Jackson confused the younger challenger by dramatically altering his strategy, relying on his boxing skills instead of his punching power.
He kind of like got his momentum going that second round.
Big right hand by Julian Jackson.
At the end of the second round, he had a big finish, so I had to go back to the corner, regroup, and start my game plan all over again.
I knew I had him beyond a shadow of a doubt. I went back to my corner, and I was so confident, you know, and I was saying it's just a matter of a couple of rounds now, and I know he will be finished.
With renewed confidence, Jackson resumed his aggressive attack, hoping to finish the fight early, when suddenly the referee, Mills Lane, was forced to momentarily stop the action.
I said, man, wow, I was really upset. I was mad, and instead of getting back into the fight, you know, I more wanted to get back at him, you know, and lost control.
After a relatively slow fourth round came what many consider to be the best round of 1993. Halfway through the round, Jackson, who had been working McClellan's body, inadvertently went too low.
Bill's Lane said I had 5 minutes to recover, and Julio was looking at me, and to me he was getting stronger and stronger. So I figured, you know, the sooner I get up, the better. When I got up, he came right at me, and he stood right in front of me. That's when I caught him with the right hand and 2 left hooks.
I sort of went straight into that punch, and I saw it coming, and I couldn't get out the way because I was just rushing in.
A left hook by Joe McClellan almost sent him through the ropes.
He is in serious trouble. His legs are not there. This fight could very well be over right this minute.
And there's a minute left to go. Can McClellan finish him off? He's down again.
You know, I wanted to continue, but I was hurt. You know, and the referee used his discretion and did the right thing. You know, and the fight was over.
It's over. Now, months later, Jackson has become obsessed with the need to regain his title and extract his revenge.
Last night I was just in bed lying, and you know, I actually saw the fight. I'm giving him a boxing lesson, and I'm actually showing the world that a side of Julian Jackson that they haven't seen.
Because like he said, he's been eating, sleep, and dreaming, you know, Gerald McClellan, and he's gonna come get his belt back. Only thing I can do, you know, by saying things like that, believe it or not, it scares me. So it makes me stay on my P's and Q's and be ready for the unexpected.
Skill, strength, and heart are the more obvious ingredients needed to win in the ring. But sometimes the unseen differences between winning and losing are the strategies and tactics of the two combatants. And in a recent WBC Super Welterweight title bout, a meticulously prepared and beautifully executed game plan produced one of the most startling upsets of last year. The date was December 18th. The champion, terrible Terry Norris. Many believed Norris, with his aggressive blend of speed and power, could be the heir apparent to Chavez's mythical title of best pound-for-pound fighter. Since winning the title in 1990, he won 11 straight bouts and earned a reputation for sending such greats as Sugar Ray Leonard and Donald Curry into retirement. The challenger, Simon Brown. With 9 title defenses in 3 years, this former IBF and WBC welterweight champion was considered one of boxing's best. But after a series of medical problems and setbacks, many believed his best years were behind him and predicted he'd be the latest on Norris's list of career-ending victories.
I think this fight was the biggest fight of my career. This fight was like do and die. Either after this fight, if I was going to continue to fight, or if I was going to say that's it for boxing.
For about a year, Brown studied tapes of Norris's fights, finding small yet significant flaws in his aggressive style. On defense, his gloves were positioned towards the side of his head, leaving his chin exposed to jabs and straight right hands. And sometimes he placed his feet parallel to one another, inhibiting his balance, speed, and mobility. On offense, he swung wildly from the sides, rarely bringing his hands back to block counter punches.
Terry had left himself hoping he don't put himself back on defense when he's punching. He go out for a kill and don't think about keeping his chin tucked.
And when Brown stepped into the ring, he was well prepared and ready to fight, unlike his opponent, Terry Norris.
Once I crossed to Simon Brown, I just kind of like, you know, it just wasn't there. And in the dressing room, I felt good. Everything was, you know, clicking. But once I got into the ring, it just didn't happen. You know, the boxing just left me.
He stuck him with a left hand, and it is a knockdown.
It was my worst nightmare. I mean, it came to reality that night, my worst nightmare.
And the nightmare continued. For every time Norris tried to take control, he would encounter a new and different disaster. And look at this, Norris is stunned. Down he goes. Right hand. Terry Norris is down, and this might be it.
So I look at this fight, I see a guy being knocked out by Simon Brown. It's not me. If it was Terry fighting like he normally would fight, then it probably would hurt me, but that's not Terry.
Now, training for the rematch, Brown refuses to speculate if that was the real Terry Norris on the canvas of Puebla, Mexico. However, he is sure they raised the arm of the real WBC super welterweight champion.
I beat him fair and square. I did it with my 2 God-given hands that he gave me. I did it on my own.
Embarrassed by his performance, Norris is eager for his revenge. And to win back his title, he knows he must return to the basics that made him so successful, so impressive for so many years.
So I wasn't jabbing, I wasn't moving, I wasn't boxing. I was going in to kill my opponent, to destroy him quickly, to take as much as possible out of him. But, you know, I trained for 12 rounds, and I'm going back to the way I used to fight and the way I used to win, and that's boxing.
Welcome back to the road to revenge, the rematches. The 4th and final rematch on May 7th will be for the WBC super featherweight title, as veteran champion Azuma Nelson takes on #1 challenger Jesse James Leija in a classic matchup of strength versus speed, experience versus youth. Setting a fast pace in the early rounds of their first fight, Jesse James Leija, a rising star from San Antonio, used speed and skill to score points and elude the power of the 36-year-old champion.
I fought my fight. I didn't fight Azuma Nelson's fight. I fought my fight. I mean, I was a lot faster than Azuma Nelson was, and you can't figure out speed. It's just there.
But as the fight progressed into the later rounds, the ponderous power and relentless pressure of the 2-time champion from Ghana began to take its toll.
This guy don't have anything to take me out. So I don't even think about his punches. So I do what I feel like doing. And that's why I call myself a professor.
At the end of 12 rounds, it was clearly a close fight, one that could go either way.
We have a split decision in favor of the winner and still champion, Azuma Nelson.
But 5 minutes later, a mistake in addition was discovered on one of the scorecards, and a new decision was announced.
The decision is a split decision draw.
And while the older champion and younger challenger share a genuine respect for one another, they're both looking forward to the rematch as a way to settle the score.
The last one was a great fight, and I think the way this fight might be different is I respect Azuma Nelson, you know, greatly, but I don't think I'm going to respect him as much being in the ring now because I've experienced it already.
I fought you once. I know the way I'm coming to fight. I know what you got, what you're going to do. You know, and I can change my style every time, anytime I want to.
See, I've been hit by that right hand. It didn't do anything to me. And I think that's going to be the difference.
If I don't knock him out, I'll quit boxing.
This fight between Azuma Nelson and Jesse James Leija is just one of the 4 bouts to be held here at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas on May 7th. For joining this WBC super featherweight title bout are 3 other rematches, each a world championship fight, each motivated by the need for revenge.
It's something to see this animalistic passion in the middle of the ring. 2 bodies really honed and sharpened, and listen, sweat perspiring and jumping from them as they throw blow after blow, pommeling each other into submission. It's going to be something that Hitchcock would enjoy for the rest of his life. He could really write a thriller on this one.
You can see this intriguing night of fighting on Saturday, May 7th from the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. I'm Steve Albert, and thanks for watching this inside look at revenge, the rematches. So long, everybody.